John had not much affliction for his mother and sisters, and an empathy to me. He bullied and punished me, not 2 or 3 times in the week, nor once or twice in the day, but continuously. Every nerve I had feared him, and every morsel of flesh on my bones shrank when he came near. There were moments when I was bewildered by the terror he inspired. Because I had no appeal whatever against either his menace or his inflictions, the servants did not like to offend their young master by taking my part against him, and Mrs. Reed was blind and deaf on the subject. She never saw him strike or heard him abuse me, though he did both now and then in her very presence, more frequently, however, behind her back. Habitually obedient to John, I came up to his chair. He spent some 3 minutes in thrusting out his tongue at me as far as he could without damaging the roots. I knew he would soon strike, and while dreading the blow, I mused on the disgusting and ugly appearance of him who would presently deal. I wondered if he read that notion in my face, for all at once, without speaking, he struck suddenly and strongly. I tottered, and on regaining my equilibrium, retired back a step or two from his chair. That is for your impudence in answering Mamma once. Whoa. That is for your impudence in answering Mamma a while since, he said, and for your sneaking away of getting behind curtains, and for the look you had in your eyes 2 minutes since, you rat. Accustomed to John Reed's abuse, I never had an idea of replying to it. My care was not how to endure the blow which would currently follow the insult. What were you doing behind the curtain? He asked. I was reading. Shrew the book. I returned to the window and fetched it thrice. You have no business to take our books. You are a dependent, Mamma says. You have no money. Your father left you none. You ought to beg, and not to live here with gentlemen's children like us, and eat the same meals as we do, and wear clothes at our mamma's expense. Now I'll teach you to rummage my bookshelves, for they are mine, and all the house belongs to me, or will do in a few years. Go and stand by the door, out of the way of the mirror and the windows. I did so, not at first aware what was his intention. But when I saw him lift and poise the book and stand in an act to hurl it, I instinctively started aside with a cry of alarm. Not soon enough, however. The volume was flung, it hit me, and I fell, striking my head against the door and cutting it. The cut bled. The pain was sharp. My terror had paused past its climax. Other feelings succeeded. Wicked and cruel boy, I said. You are like a murderer. You are like a slave driver. You are like the Roman emperors. I had read Goldman's History of Rome and had formed an opinion of Nero, Caligula, and C. Also, I had drawn parallels in silence, which I never thought thus to have declared out loud. What? What? He cried. Did she say that to me? Did you hear her, Eliza and Georgina? Won't I tell Mamma? But first. He ran headlong at me. I felt him grasp my hair and my shoulder. He had closed with a desperate thing. I really saw in him a tyrant, a murderer. I felt a drop or two of blood from my head trickle down my neck, and was sensible of somewhat purgent suffering. These sensations, for the time, predominated over fear, and I received him in frantic sort. I didn't very well know what I did with my hands, but he called me, Rat! Rat! And bellowed out louder. Aid was near him. Eliza and Georgina had ran for Mrs. Reed, who was gone upstairs. She now came upon the scene, followed by Betsy and her maid Abbot. We were parted. I heard the words, Dear, dear, what a fury to fly at Master John! Did ever anybody see such a picture of passion? Then Mrs. Reed subjoined, Take her away to the red room and lock her in there. 4 hands were immediately laid upon me, and I was borne upstairs.